Welcome once again. Hopefully you can all see everything you need to see. We've moved our events to a monthly cycle of events opposed to a weekly, and this is a really exciting one because we've got a new colour scheme. And we're talking about how to build a remote culture that works today, which is super important, I feel, given the conversations which are taking place. But feel free to drop your name in the chat and where you're from. Whether you're watching this on replay or you're watching it live, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you are in the world. It's great to see you here. As always, this is a recorded session. We are live broadcasting this at the moment on YouTube. But there's time to catch up with it afterwards as well. We are all human beings, so let's respect each other. Feel free to come off of mute if you want to chat, but if that doesn't energize you and you prefer to type away in your communication style, then by all means do that as well. Just to reiterate, this is always a safe learning zone. We're always talking about new things here, and there's no more important time for this to be a safe learning zone than it is at the moment, because one of the things we're going to talk about is psychological safety. But before we do anything, I thought it would just be good to set the context of where we are in 2025. Because the reality is there are a lot of leaders out there talking about remote working and whether it works in their perception or not. And here are some quotes from those people. Now, apologies in advance if this is incorrect. I've used my favorite AI engine, Copilot, to provide me with this information. But it does resonate because I've heard some of these stories in the news. So there's some names there which you can read yourself. So we don't need to call out. But I will call out Elon Musk because I think he deserves it. Because I thought it was highly amusing that he was saying that people must spend a minimum of 40 hours in the office. And he's not well known for doing that until recently. And his board told him that he needs to be doing that. But there is a competing viewpoints here around whether remote working works or not. And I'd just like to say, and put my own view on this, that it does work. And it does work if it's managed and led correctly. And there are ways, as you will see in the rest of this presentation, around what we think are some of the key steps to enable that success. But if you think about this, then actually this is very empowering for lots of people who are juggling all sorts of things in their lives. Maybe they're carers, maybe they're even in war zones. We're working with some people in Ukraine, for example, where remote working is critical to their success and being able to bring an income in. But even before, all of this started to become mainstream, myself and my colleagues were leading global implementation projects for digital success with companies across the world. And we were doing that fully remotely before the pandemic and everything else took place. So let's jump through the rest of our slides here. So let's cut to the next one here. Bear with me a second. I just need to juggle things around. So bear with me a second while I'm doing that. A few of my slides have gone awry. So I just need to bring those back into view, find out where they've gone. So here we go. Now, these are the 3 points. You may have seen a few of these as we've been doing some of our viral videos and sharing some bits and pieces on some of the latest social channels, which we've been moving around on. Let me just bring this into view. So our 3 key points. They're coming, I promise. Right, here we go. Do you know what? I don't know what's going on with Canva today. It's not playing, which is very odd. But we'll do this this way. 3 key points based on our professional experience. These aren't recycled memes. Let's go through, and I'll just put that into present mode, and we'll present full screen, go in there, and we'll do it this way. And hopefully we'll get rid of that one. And we'll shuffle things around, give this a shot. No, it's still only coming up with a 5. This is a bit odd. But we will get there. Oh, I see what I've done. It's me having a silly moment with a load of hidden slides. So let me just correct that on the fly, and normal service will resume shortly. Always fun, of course, doing live presentations. Okay, we're coming back to it, folks. Thank you for bearing with me. But at least you've had a chance to read those things now that some of those leaders have been saying. Let me bring this one back into view. Here we go. Bring that into full screen and we are good to go. So thank you again. I'm grateful for your patience on that one. 3 points. These are based on our professional experience. They aren't recycled memes. It's what we've seen, as been going through and achieving this prior to the pandemic, 20 years plus digital transformation experience, but more importantly, with Lightrise in the last 3.5 years. Psychological, there's 3 points here. I'm going to go through them in turn. First one, psychological and health safety. And this is my quote. You are scared because you let fear in, or other people or situations make you fearful. Move out of fear and into safety. To have a successful remote working environment, you need to be able to make mistakes like I've just done, and show a little bit of humility and make sure, everyone feels the same. We are all human beings and things will go wrong. And it's important actually to be able to have space to make sure, to be there when things do go wrong, because it's the best way to learn. So maybe I'll learn to go through my slides in the future. But this is critical, right? Because when you make that move to being remote, then a lot of us start to feel guilty. And feel like, oh, I should be at my PC or whatever it is that you're doing all the time, because people are going to be watching me. The reality is, if you were in an office, you wouldn't be doing that. And if we go back to what Boris Johnson was saying here, you spend an awful lot of time making a cup of coffee and then, going out, walking very slow to the fridge. Well, I'm sorry, Boris, but the reality is, if you were in an office space, you would, because this is good practice from a health and safety perspective, you'd get up from your machine, you would go and make yourself a drink. Now, I've got cacao today, which is my new drink, because it's a lot better for you than caffeine, I've decided, and it's good for your mind. But you get up, you stretch your legs, you rest your eyes, you get some water. And it's important that when you build a culture, that people know those sorts of things are acceptable, because that does form part of psychological safety. But you should be managing yourself in the same way that you would as if you were in an office space, really. Now, this isn't just me saying this. There's been some fantastic debates in the UK recently from the British Psychological Society, led by Professor Gail Kinman, fantastic scientist. And she's been providing evidence to the House of Lords around the effects of home working and what best practice looks like around creating psychological safety in the workplace. And if you want to watch that video, you can click on that QR code and it'll take you through. This is all very current. Here we are in June 25, and this was only a few days ago. But what I would say is it's not just the British Psychological Society, which is a very esteemed and prestigious institution, but this is an international standard, folks. This isn't something that's just come out of Britain. It's an international standard, and it is international standard 45,003 around occupational health and safety management and guidelines for managing psychosocial risks in the workplace. I have got a QR code on that one, but you can see the link. And if you Google or use other fantastic search engines like the Cozier, which does some amazing things for the planet at the same time, type in ISO 45,003, and you'll probably get to this page, or you can take the link there from the screen. But in summary, this takes you through a framework which you can use to think about things in the workplace. But in the absence of that, you might want to get around the table or as an organization and start a debate around what a psychologically safe place looks like. But going back to what we were just talking about right there at the start, fear of people and things. If you're fearing people, you've got to ask why. What is it about them and their behaviors and intent which makes people fearful? That could be a very challenging thing to rectify in a large organization, particularly if those people are protected in various different ways, shapes, and forms. And I've got a fantastic article coming out around this soon by Brains magazine, and you can check that out. But that is point one, psychological safety. Now, communication. This is really important. We are built to communicate, build space for it, allow it, and enable it. Now, if I think back on my career, I can think of people, managers, these are managers that have said, it's wrong, isn't it, Gareth? Those people, they're talking to each other all the time. That can't be right. Well, gee, I think it is right because we are built to communicate with each other. And if you don't communicate, then you don't succeed and no one knows what they're doing. But again, we are all human beings and there's a science behind this. Oxytocin, so it's a chemical in your body and mind. It's often called the love hormone or the cuddle chemical as it is articulated here. It's a neuropeptide which is produced in the hypothalamus region of your mind, and it's released by the pituitary gland. It plays a key role in social bonding, trust, empathy, and emotional regulation. If you stop talking to people, your oxytocin levels go down. If you start talking to people, they go up. If you talk to people face to face, which is why a lot of people love face-to-face working, you're getting this little lift inside of them. Your body chemistry is saying, I recognize this. This is what we were built for. We're built to communicate with each other. Now, if you are working remotely, you still get that lift. It's not the same, but you should probably be practicing more communication, like texting, video calls, and all those sorts of things to try and overcome the small deficit which you might receive from not being there face to face. But you've got to take all these things and anything in life in balance. And let's face it, remote working, it's quite useful for picking the kids up from school or working around your home life and belief systems and whatever it is, giving you that flexibility, that empowerment, which ironically is what Microsoft are trying to do, empower everyone on the planet with tools like Teams and M365, providing all the security features and all of that for us to achieve this success, whether you are in a physical office or a remote office. But we just take a look through this list here. How communication triggers that oxytocin release. Positive social interactions, i.e., we don't want toxic people. These are meaningful conversations, eye contact, active listening, i.e., not talking over people. Now, I do that sometimes. Apologies, folks. I'm so excited. I like to talk. I'm an extrovert. But this can stimulate oxytocin release. Empathetic communication, the expressions of care and affection for our fellow human beings. Non-verbal cues, such as smiling, nodding. Most communication is through body language. If we shut ourselves off on video, if I turn this video off today, and I start talking, let's do it. If I can find the video button. There we go. I'm going to start talking. How does that look? I'm here just scratching my chin, doing things that I want to be doing. What's Gareth up to? You're thinking behind the scenes without his camera on. It's not as effective. So that's why it is good to be on camera when you're having chats. Now, that said, being on camera for some people creates a lot of anxiety because there's a lot of pressure to conform on camera, which is driven by society and people on camera all the time. But it comes down to fear again, doesn't it? Equally, it should be acceptable for people not to be on camera occasionally, because let's face it, we all have bad days, and I don't want to be on camera all the time. Some days I'm like, nah, that's enough. I don't want to be on camera today. But put effort into all of these things in the same way that we put effort into conversing in an office, and you might find people in an office equally retreat back into themselves and don't converse. Well, the same thing applies whether you're retreating in to yourself remotely or in a physical office place. Communication is key, and we do need to make space for it. Build space for it today. If you're working everyone 100% utilization, chances are they're not going to get much time to chat to each other. Allow it, i.e., make sure as leaders you are saying it's acceptable. Have a chat with each other, call each other up, find out how you're doing. Build in to your Slack channels, your Teams channels, ways that you can engage with each other on an ongoing basis. Enable it with technology, culture, policy, and practice. Number 3. Before we go on to number 3, another great female academic here, Professor Inga Newman, the chair of the Department of Behavioral and Molecular Neurobiology at the University of Regensburg. Breaking insights on oxytocin. Take a look at the science if you want to. I've tried to summarize it as best as I can there. There's some fascinating research on this. When you're in that happy place, by the way, I remember being taught this at Henley Business School. The way you learn, got these neural pathways, neurons, right? And if you're under stress, are you under stress? If you're under stress, you don't learn because your neural pathways harden. And when they're in that hardened state, they are less receptive to learning. And learning is key to all our success. Because if you don't learn, then you can't grow. And if you don't grow, you don't move on. And let's face it, you need to move on because the world is moving at an ever increasing speed. And we all learn, right? That's what we do. We just keep learning throughout life. To keep those channels open, and keeping the channels open means being in a psychologically safe environment, not being stressed, so your neural pathways aren't hardening, and there's all sorts of other science there as well. Number 3, goals. Transparency and clarity enables trust. Ambiguity builds excellence. There is a trust equation, right? Efficiency plus effectiveness plus intimacy. It's all undermined by self-interest, by the way. But those 3 things, you've got those. So you are efficient. You're doing the things that you say you're doing. You are effective. You're building relationships, that intimacy part. You're sharing parts of yourself together. You're communicating. Fantastic. You are on a pathway to building solid trust foundations. If people are self-orientated, got self-interest, they might just be doing that really because they're manipulative, so-and-so's, as an example, or they've got other agendas at play, which are based all around themselves and what they can get out for themselves. That trust, forget about it. It's undermined. Now, trust, to be efficient and effective, in these situations, sorry, we've got one on there. You need, I would suggest, to understand where you are all going as a business. And the reason that this is important is because people need to know how to spend their time. And typically, we know how to spend our time because in a business environment, we are workers. So we've got a contract to exchange our skills and labor for remuneration. And we exchange our skills and labor for remuneration through a job description. So that's one way that we know that we're doing what we should be doing. But the reality is, it's not granular enough. Now, there's some fantastic cultures out there where that might be enough. You know, people are trusted, come up with their own tasks and everything else in order to move in the same direction. But sadly, I've seen a lot of organizations, and it's quite amazing, quite frankly, how they've existed, where people are doing stuff and they don't know what the strategy of the company is. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what the goals of the company are. And this might not just be at a company level, but it could be at project level. You know, 70 to 90%, depends whose research you read. McKinsey, I think it says 70% of IT projects, they fail. And I'll tell you one of the reasons they fail is because there's no goals, there's no success metrics. What does success look like? Don't know. We bought this thing, we're doing these things, we don't really know where we're going. I see. Okay. So yeah, what does success look like at an organization level, at a project level? And let's get it written down, you know, and let's not just get it written down. Let's give people pathways of success, i.e., goals, tasks, which align to that. You know, you wouldn't go on a vacation and not, well, you might do. You might go on a vacation where you don't know where you're going, but most people want to know where they're going and how they're going to get there, right? Because that takes the stress away. And when they do get there, they celebrate, you know, by having the restful time that they do. And if you don't know where you're going and how you're going to get there, then it's not going to be restful. When it's not restful, it's stressful. It's not psychologically safe. You can see the cycle, the circle, and everything else here. So think about those goals and think about how they translate. And this then gets rid of this, oh, so-and-so can't be trusted. Remote work. Well, why not? Well, I don't know what they're doing. Why don't you know what they're doing? I haven't told them. Right, okay. So that's why you don't trust them, because you don't know what they're doing, because you haven't told them. So you see these cycles that go on and they're patterns. You can always recognize these, take a step out of organizations to see these ongoing patterns. And going back to this whole thing around, you know, whether remote work works. Well, what is it? What is it about people that want to get them back into the office? That's control. I think part of it is control. People are freaked out. They haven't got a control over people. Why have they not got any control over people? Because they haven't got any goals. They've got any goals that they can trust people with in order to progress in the direction that everyone needs to happily be moving in. When you get those three pillars in place, then, and I'm not saying that's everything, but I think those three pillars, psychological safety, communication, goals, they are some pretty strong foundations to achieving and empowering people in a successful way to have a remote culture, a business, institution, organization without walls. Now, here's another reason you might want to make sure that these things are in place, and it's around risk. So it's an added extra on the 3 points, because remote working does enable us to mitigate risk. You know, things go wrong, as we saw in the pandemic. It was remote working which kept the economy going. Now, I'm not saying that remote working works for all organizations. It clearly doesn't, because some people have to be physically there doing a physical role. And until all our friends in China build us enough bipedal robots to prevent us having to do that, then we are where we are. But the reality is there are, as the pandemic has illustrated, a large number of roles which we can have a paradigm shift on in terms of our thinking, and they can be made to be successful. Learning as well. This isn't mutually exclusive to corporations, organizations, institutions, businesses, but perhaps in a learning environment as well. And we've certainly seen that taking place again over the pandemic. So challenge your ways of thinking and consider what success can look like with some best practice from some of the top scientists out there. And that is really what I wanted to summarize today. I'm going to drink my cacao now for a couple of seconds and just give you the opportunity to ask any questions if there are any. If there aren't, don't worry. Good for magnesium, apparently, cacao. All sorts of great chemistry goes on that. And you'll sleep a lot better than drinking 10 cups of coffee a day. I can guarantee you that. If there aren't any questions, don't see any coming through, then that's fine. If you are watching this on replay, reach out, have a chat with us. We'd love to know what you are thinking. Now, you'll always know if you've watched these sessions before that we are all about making a positive impact in the world. And at Lightrise, we are all about people and planet above profit. I know that doesn't resonate with some people, but for us, it is super important. Now, this is a quote from Jessie J. She's a great musician. She's going through a troubling time at the moment, so reach out to her and give her some love. But she's got a song, and it said, it's not about the money. We just want to make the world dance. I thought that was a fantastic saying. And that's what we want to do at Lightrise. We want to make the world dance by putting people and planet above profit. And you can help us do that today. We don't want anything in return. This is no scheme, no referral codes. This is about giving love to you so you can give it on to everyone else. You can use this QR code today and scan that in on your phone, and you can contribute to one of 4 amazing projects that we've got here for forest protection, helping the youth out, and one of Bill Gates' favorites, preventing malaria, which is what the Gates Foundation well known for trying to achieve. So I am very grateful, as always, for spending time with you all today. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please reach out if you've got any chats, want to go through anything. You can always get in touch with me. It's a no pressure sort of chat where you can, I'm trying to find the link now, can't find it, we'll send it out to you. It's on my LinkedIn profile. You can go there, you can book a call with me, and we can just chat through things and see how we can help you. But just to finalize again, there's that code once more. Thank you very much for your patience as I've found around on this slide deck today. I do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you all again next month. Take good care of yourselves and stay safe wherever you are. Thank you.